In the year 9 of the Common Era, a Roman army marched into the dense forests of Germania, confident in its mission to subdue the barbarian tribes beyond the Rhine. Led by Publius Quinctilius Varus, the three legions numbering nearly 20,000 men vanished in a catastrophic ambush orchestrated by a Germanic chieftain named Arminius. The Battle of Teutoburg Forest, as it came to be known, marked one of the greatest military disasters in Roman history, shattering the empire's ambitions in the wild lands of the north. The defeat reverberated through Rome, altering its borders, policies, and psyche for centuries. The mystery of how a disciplined Roman army fell to tribal warriors in a rain-soaked wilderness endures as a saga of betrayal, strategy, and resilience. This is the story of Teutoburg, a clash that reshaped the destiny of empires and left an indelible mark on the annals of history. At the dawn of the 1st century, the Roman Empire under Emperor Augustus stood as the unchallenged master of the Mediterranean world. Its legions, renowned for their discipline, engineering, and tactical prowess, had conquered lands from Britain to Egypt, forging a Pax Romana that promised order and prosperity. The empire's northern frontier stretched along the Rhine River, separating Roman Gaul from the untamed territories of Germania. The Germanic tribes, a loose confederation of farmers, warriors, and herders, inhabited dense forests and marshlands, living in scattered villages without cities or written laws. These tribes valued independence, fiercely resisting Roman attempts to impose taxes and governance. Augustus, driven by a vision of a boundless empire, sought to push the frontier eastward to the Elbe River, incorporating Germania into Rome's domain. The cultural divide between Rome and Germania was profound. Roman soldiers trained in formation warfare relied on heavy infantry, standardized equipment, and fortified camps. Their campaigns were supported by supply chains, roads, and engineering feats like bridges and aqueducts. Germanic warriors, by contrast, excelled in guerrilla tactics, wielding long spears and shields in fluid skirmishes suited to their rugged terrain. Their society, bound by kinship and oral traditions, revered war leaders like Arminius, a Cherushi noble who had served in Roman auxiliary forces, gaining knowledge of their strategies. The tension between Roman ambition and Germanic resistance set the stage for a confrontation that would test the limits of imperial power. The forested heart of Germania, with its narrow paths and hidden glades, would become the crucible where these worlds collided. In the summer of 9, Common Era Publius Quinctilius Varus, governor of Germania, led the 17th, 18th, and 19th legions into the region to consolidate Roman control. Accompanied by auxiliary troops and camp followers, the force totaled nearly 20,000 souls. Varus, a seasoned administrator but no master strategist, trusted Arminius, a Roman-trained Cherushi leader who pledged loyalty to Rome. Unbeknownst to Varus, Arminius harbored plans to unite the tribes against their occupiers. As the Roman column marched through the Teutoburg forest, a narrow corridor of dense woods and bogs, Arminius sprang his trap. He had rallied tribes, including the Cherushi Marcomanni and Bructeri, forging a coalition bound by a shared desire to expel the invaders. The ambush unfolded over 3 days in a landscape that nullified Roman strengths. Torrential rains turned paths to mud, slowing the legion's cumbersome wagons and hindering their tight formations. Germanic warriors struck from the shadows, hurling javelins and charging in waves before melting back into the trees. Arminius exploited the terrain, using ridges and ravines to isolate Roman units, cutting off communication and supply lines. The legions, unable to deploy their signature testudo formation or use artillery, floundered in the chaos. Varus, realizing the scale of the betrayal, ordered a desperate retreat, but the encircled army was systematically dismantled. By the 3rd day, nearly all were slain or captured, with Varus taking his own life to avoid dishonor. The Germanic tribes seized Roman standards, including the sacred legionary eagles, cementing their triumph in a slaughter that left the forest floor strewn with bodies. The Battle of Teutoburg Forest delivered a seismic shock to the Roman Empire, reshaping its ambitions and policies for generations. The loss of 3 legions, nearly 1/10 of Rome's standing army, was a blow to military prestige and manpower. Emperor Augustus reportedly cried out in despair, commanding his advisors to abandon his plans for Germania. The empire withdrew its frontier to the Rhine River, fortifying it with watchtowers and garrisons to deter further incursions. This retreat marked the end of Roman expansion into Germania, preserving the region as a distinct cultural and political entity beyond imperial control. The Rhine became a psychological barrier, separating the civilized world from the barbarian north, a divide that influenced European history for centuries. The defeat altered Roman military strategy. The legions, once invincible in open battle, adapted to counter-guerrilla warfare, emphasizing mobility and intelligence gathering. The loss of the legionary standards, sacred symbols of Roman honor, prompted punitive campaigns under Germanicus, from 14 to 16 Common Era, to recover the eagles and restore pride. These expeditions, though costly, demonstrated Rome's resolve but failed to reassert control over the tribes. Politically, Teutoburg weakened Augustus' regime, exposing vulnerabilities in his imperial vision and fueling debates in the Senate about overexpansion. The battle's aftermath saw increased taxation and recruitment in Gaul, straining provincial loyalty and foreshadowing tensions that would challenge Rome's stability. For the Germanic tribes, the victory galvanized resistance, fostering a sense of unity that persisted in their fragmented society, laying the seeds for later tribal confederacies. The legacy of Teutoburg Forest extends far beyond its immediate consequences, shaping cultural memory and historical inquiry. In Rome, the battle became a cautionary tale, immortalized by historians like Cassius Dio and Tacitus, who described the forest as a place of eternal infamy. The Germanic tribes, lacking written records, preserved the victory in oral sagas, celebrating Arminius as a liberator who defied the might of Rome. In the 19th century, German nationalists rediscovered Teutoburg as a symbol of unity, erecting the Hermannsdenkmal, a towering statue of Arminius in the forest, to inspire the emerging German state. This reinterpretation transformed the battle into a cornerstone of German identity, emphasizing resistance against foreign domination, though it also fueled romanticized myths that obscured historical nuance. Archaeological discoveries have illuminated the battle's grim reality. In 1987, excavations at Kalkreis in northern Germany uncovered a site littered with Roman coins weapons, and skeletal remains confirming it as the likely battlefield. Sand walls built by the Germans to funnel the legions into a kill zone revealed Arminius' tactical ingenuity. Artifacts like sling stones and broken swords attest to the ferocity of the ambush, while mass graves speak to the scale of the slaughter. These finds, corroborated by Roman accounts, have allowed scholars to reconstruct the battle sequence, refining our understanding of Iron Age warfare. The recovery of a legionary eagle in 16 Common Era, now housed in a museum, underscores the symbolic weight of the conflict. Teutoburg study has advanced disciplines from military history to osteoarchaeology, offering insights into Roman logistics, Germanic societal structures, and the environmental challenges of ancient campaigning. The battle's enduring fascination lies in its blend of strategy, betrayal, and survival, a moment when a forest became the graveyard of an empire's dreams. The Battle of Teutoburg Forest remains one of history's defining moments, a clash that halted the march of an empire and reshaped the course of Europe. In 9 Common Era, Arminius, a chieftain trained by Rome, turned his knowledge against his masters, leading a coalition of tribes to annihilate 3 legions in a rain-drenched wilderness. The defeat ended Augustus' vision of a Roman Germania fixing the Rhine as the empire's northern limit and preserving a distinct Germanic identity. Its ripples altered Roman military doctrine, strained imperial resources, and inspired centuries of myth, making from Tacitus' chronicles to German nationalist monuments. Archaeological finds at Calcaries, from shattered shields to buried bones, bear witness to the battle's brutality, illuminating the ingenuity of a tribal ambush that humbled Rome. The story of Teutoburg endures as a saga of defiance and consequence, a reminder of the fragility of power when confronted by unity, terrain, and resolve. As the forests of Germania whisper their ancient secrets, the legacy of Arminius and Varus lives on, a testament to the enduring power of history to shape nations and memory. In the spring of 1952, brothers cutting peat in a secluded Danish bog stumbled upon a discovery that would bridge millennia. They unearthed a man whose body seemed untouched by time, his skin darkened, yet supple, his features so intact he appeared to have died mere hours before. A braided leather rope around his neck revealed a violent end, yet his face bore a serene expression as if at peace. This was no recent tragedy. The man had lain in the earth for over 2,000 years, preserved by the bog's unique alchemy. Named the Tolland Man, after a nearby village, he emerged as a silent witness to the Iron Age, a period shrouded in mystery and ritual. His discovery opened a window into the lives, beliefs, and practices of a forgotten people, offering a rare glimpse into a world where the boundaries between life, death, and the divine were fluid. The Tolland Man's story, etched in his preserved flesh, stands as a testament to the enduring power of the past to speak across centuries, inviting us to explore the enigma of human sacrifice and the secrets held by the earth. The Tolland Man lived around 400 BC in the heart of Europe's Iron Age, a time when small tribal communities thrived across the Jutland Peninsula, now modern Denmark. These ancestors of the Danes built their lives around agriculture, crafting tools and weapons from iron, a metal that transformed their society from the Bronze Age. Their settlements, clusters of thatched huts surrounded by fields, forests, and wetlands, were modest yet resilient, shaped by a harsh northern climate that demanded cooperation, ingenuity, and adaptability. Unlike the urban civilizations of Greece, Persia, or Egypt, these people left no written records, their history preserved in oral traditions, scattered artifacts, and the natural archives of bogs, lakes, and burial mounds. Bogs held a special place in their world, seen as sacred liminal spaces where the earth met the divine. These wetlands, with their still waters, rich peat, and eerie stillness, were portals to the god sites of offerings, ranging from gold jewelry and bronze weapons to occasionally human lives given to appease deities or ensure communal prosperity. The cultural landscape of Iron Age Denmark was deeply influenced by neighboring Celtic and Germanic tribes, whose practices of ritual warfare and artistry spread across northern Europe. Archaeological finds such as bronze torques, iron spears, and intricately carved wooden objects suggest a society that valued both martial prowess and aesthetic expression. Religious life revolved around the natural world, with sacred groves, springs, and bogs serving as altars for communal ceremonies. Human sacrifice, though rare, was not unknown, often tied to moments of crisis, famine, war, or divine displeasure. The Tolland Man's preservation in the bog suggests he was no ordinary victim, but a figure chosen for a higher purpose, his death a bridge between his people and their gods. This context, pieced together from artifacts, comparative studies, and environmental analysis, frames the Tolland Man as a product of a complex, vibrant culture, one that balanced survival with profound spiritual reverence. The bog's role as a sacred repository underscores the Iron Age belief in the cyclical nature of life, where offerings to the earth ensured renewal and protection. On May 6, 1950, Viggo and Emil Højgaard, peat cutters working in the Bjelskovdal bog near Tollund, Denmark, made a startling discovery that would resonate through the ages. As their shovels sank into the dark peat, they struck something soft and yielding, revealing a human body curled as if in sleep. The man's face was serene. His eyes closed, his features so remarkably preserved that the brothers initially believed he was a recent murder victim. A braided leather rope, tightly knotted around his neck, hinted at a darker truth, a deliberate act of violence. The local community gathered awestruck by the find, and police were summoned to investigate what seemed a modern crime. Within days, archaeologists confirmed the body's antiquity, dating it to the Iron Age some 2,400 years earlier. The Tollund man, as he came to be known, was a marvel of natural preservation, his skin, hair, and even internal organs intact thanks to the bog's extraordinary conditions. The bog's preservation power stemmed from a unique combination of environmental factors, low oxygen levels, high acidity, and the presence of sphagnum moss, which together halted bacterial decay. The peat formed from centuries of decomposing plants created a natural embalming chamber, tanning the Tollundman's skin like leather, preserving details as delicate as his eyelashes stubble and the weave of his woolen cap. Initial examinations revealed he was approximately 40 years old, standing roughly 5 feet tall with no signs of chronic disease or malnutrition. The rope, carefully crafted from leather, indicated he had been hanged, his body placed deliberately in the bog, in a fetal position, suggesting a ritualistic act, rather than a criminal execution. The discovery captivated Denmark and the broader scientific community, drawing archaeologists, anthropologists, and historians eager to unravel the man's story. The Tollund man was not merely a corpse, but a time capsule, his preservation offering an unprecedented opportunity to study an ancient life in extraordinary detail and to probe the cultural practices that led to his death. The discovery of the Tollund man launched a scientific odyssey to decode his life-death and the world he inhabited. Early studies conducted in the 1950s employed carbon-14, dating to place his death between 405 and 380 BC, firmly within the Iron Age. Analysis of his stomach contents revealed his final meal, a porridge of barley flax and wild seeds consumed 12 to 24 hours before death. This simple fare, typical of Iron Age diets, suggested a modest but sufficient lifestyle reliant on local grains and foraged plants. Forensic examinations confirmed the cause of death, hanging with the ropes, pressure marks still visible on his neck. The absence of defensive wounds or signs of struggle pointed to a ritualistic act, his body carefully arranged as if to honor or appease a higher power. The serene expression on his face with closed eyes and parted lips suggested he may have accepted his fate, possibly under the influence of ritual preparation or sedation. Advancements in scientific techniques deepened the investigation over subsequent decades. In the 1980s, computed tomography scans revealed intact internal organs, allowing researchers to study his heart, lungs, and digestive system without invasive procedures. Isotopic analysis of his hair and bones indicated he was born and raised in Jutland, his diet reflecting local resources such as grainsfish and occasional meat. DNA studies, though limited by degradation, hinted at genetic ties to modern Scandinavian populations, providing a tentative link between past and present. Traces of ergot, fungus, a psychoactive substance in his meal, raised speculation about hallucinogenic rituals, though this remains unconfirmed. The noose, crafted from braided leather and expertly knotted, suggested a ceremonial execution, possibly tied to fertility rites, agricultural cycles, or communal crises such as drought or conflict. Each finding, from his preserved fingerprints to the texture of his skin, enriched the portrait of a man whose death was both ordinary and sacred, a moment when his community sought to commune with the divine through the ultimate offering. The Tollund man's discovery illuminated the shadowy world of Iron Age Europe, revealing a culture where human sacrifice was a profound expression of faith and communal identity. Across northern Europe, other bog bodies, such as Grauballe Man in Denmark, Lindo Man in England, and Clonakeven Man in Ireland, share similar fates, many killed ritually by hanging strangulation or stabbing before being offered to the bogs. These acts preserved in the peat suggest a belief that human lives could secure divine favor, perhaps in response to environmental threats, social upheaval, or spiritual imperatives. The Tolland man's serene expression contrasts starkly with his violent end, hinting at acceptance, ritual, preparation, or even a cultural understanding of death as a passage to the divine. His careful placement in the bog, curled in a fetal position, suggests a reverence for the body as a vessel of spiritual significance. The scientific study of bog bodies catalyzed by the Tolland man revolutionized archaeological and anthropological research. Techniques such as non-invasive imaging, organic residue analysis, and isotopic profiling, refined through decades of study, have transformed these remains into windows into ancient diets, health mobility, and social structures. The Tolland man, displayed at the Silkeborg Museum in Denmark, draws thousands of visitors annually, his hauntingly human presence, a direct link to a lost era. His discovery has inspired cultural reflections from the poetry of Seamus Heaney, who meditated on the bog, body's timeless resonance, to modern exhibitions that explore the intersection of science and spirituality. Beyond Denmark, the Tolland man's legacy shapes global studies of prehistoric societies, offering insights into the spiritual and social dynamics of communities without written records. The Tolland man's impact extends to broader questions about human sacrifice and its role in ancient belief systems. Comparative studies with Celtic, Germanic, and even Mesoamerican practices suggest sacrifice was a universal response to existential uncertainties, a way to negotiate with forces beyond human control. The bogs of northern Europe, once seen as mere wetlands, are now recognized as sacred archives, preserving not just bodies, but the stories of entire cultures. The Tolland man's story, a blend of scientific rigor and existential wonder, continues to captivate, embodying the eternal tension between life-death and the search for meaning. The Tolland man stands as a silent envoy from an age when the divine was sought in the depths of bogs and the cycles of nature. His body preserved by the earth's alchemy carries the weight of a culture's beliefs, where sacrifice bound communities to their gods and to each other. Discovered by chance in a Danish bog, he has become a beacon for science, illuminating the lives of those who walked the earth millennia ago. The details of his final moments, his simple meal of porridge, the rope that took his life, paint a portrait of a man both ordinary and extraordinary, chosen for a sacred purpose. His face frozen in repose speaks of a world where death was not an end, but a passage, a moment of communion with the eternal. The Tolland man's legacy endures not only in the laboratories and museums that study him, but in the stories we tell about the human need to connect with the divine. As the bogs of Denmark guard their secrets, he remains a voice from the past, whispering truths about faith, sacrifice, and the resilience of memory across the ages. In 1908, archaeologists excavating the ancient palace of Phaistos on the island of Crete uncovered a small clay disc that would become one of the most perplexing artifacts in human history. Known as the Phaistos disc, this enigmatic object bears 241 symbols arranged in a spiral pattern, unlike any known script from antiquity. Crafted over 3,500 years ago by the Minoan civilization, a sophisticated society that dominated the Mediterranean, the disc remains an undeciphered mystery. Its cryptic signs, meticulously pressed into soft clay by hands, long vanished, challenge our understanding of ancient writing systems, cultural practices, and technological innovation. The Phaistos disk stands as a silent testament to a lost world, whispering secrets that have eluded scholars, linguists, and historians for over a century. Its enigmatic presence invites us to explore the boundaries of knowledge, where evidence meets imagination, in a quest to unlock the voice of a civilization silenced by time. This is the story of the Phaistos disk, a relic that holds the potential to reshape our understanding of the ancient past. The Phaistos disk emerged from the heart of the Minoan civilization, which thrived on Crete between 2000 and 1450 BC. The Minoans, named after the mythical king Minos, were a seafaring people whose strategic island location made it a crossroads of the Mediterranean world. Their palaces at Knossos, Phaistos, Malea, and Zakros were architectural marvels featuring multi-story buildings, vibrant frescoes depicting marine life, and bull leaping and advanced drainage systems that rivaled modern engineering. These palatial complexes served as centers of administration, trade, and religious activity, facilitating commerce with Egypt, Anatolia, the Levant, and the Greek mainland. Minoan ships carried olive oil wine pottery and bronze tools across vast distances, establishing Crete as a hub of cultural and economic exchange in the Bronze Age. The Minoans developed two known writing systems, Linear A, which remains undeciphered, and Linear B, later adapted by the Mycenaean Greeks for an early form of Greek. Linear A, found on clay tablets and seal stones, was likely used for administrative records such as inventories and possibly religious texts, though its language remains unknown. Unlike Mesopotamian scribes who inscribed cuneiform on durable clay, the Minoans favored perishable materials like papyrus, for some records leaving a sparse written legacy. Their society was rich in artistic expression, with ceramics adorned with octopus motifs and gold jewelry, showcasing intricate craftsmanship. The Minoans' collapse around 1450 BC, often linked to the catastrophic eruption of the Thera volcano or invasions by Mycenaean Greeks, marked the end of their dominance, but their cultural influence persisted in the Aegean world. The Phaistos disk stands apart from this cultural tapestry. Its unique symbols diverge from Linear A and B, suggesting a distinct purpose or origin. Or, found in a palace archive, it may have been a diplomatic gift, a sacred text, a commemorative record, or even an experimental script. The Minoan world, vibrant with innovation yet shrouded in mystery, provides the backdrop for a disk that encapsulates both the brilliance and the enigma of its creators. The absence of bilingual inscriptions like the Rosetta Stone has left scholars without a key to the Minoan language, making the disk a singular challenge in the study of ancient communication. On July 3rd, 1908, Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier made a groundbreaking discovery in a storage room of the Phaistos Palace, buried beneath layers of ash and debris from its destruction around 1700 BC. The Phaistos disk, a fired clay artifact roughly 6 inches in diameter, was inscribed with 241 symbols, arranged in spiral bands on both faces. These signs, totaling 45 distinct types, depict humans, animals, plants, tools, and abstract shapes, each meticulously pressed into the clay using reusable stamps. This stamping technique, remarkable for its time, suggests an early form of movable type predating similar innovations by millennia. The symbols form sequences divided by vertical lines, possibly indicating words, phrases, or syntactic units, but their meaning remains elusive. The disk's exceptional preservation, despite the palace's collapse, indicated it was a valued object, perhaps stored in a secure archive before the site was abandoned. Its clay composition matched local Cretan materials, confirming its Minoan origin, while its spiral design hinted at a deliberate structure, possibly narrative, ritualistic, or administrative. Found alongside Linear A tablets and pottery fragments, the disk stood out for its uniqueness. No similar artifacts have been uncovered in Crete or beyond. Pernier's discovery electrified the archaeological community, promising new insights into Minoan literacy and culture, yet its cryptic nature posed an immediate challenge. Early scholars speculated it recorded a hymn, a calendar, a legal code, or a genealogical list. But without comparative texts or a decipherment key, these ideas remained hypothetical. The Phaistos disk's singularity raised immediate questions about its function. Was it a one-off experiment by a Minoan scribe, a ceremonial object meant for display, or an import from a distant culture now lost to history? Its discovery in a secondary context amid debris suggested it was no longer in use when the palace fell complicating efforts to understand its original purpose. The disk's enigmatic presence transformed Phaistos into a focal point of Minoan studies, drawing researchers to Crete in search of answers that have yet to materialize. The Phaistos disk has ignited over a century of scientific debate, with scholars, linguists, and archaeologists divided over its meaning, purpose, and even authenticity. Early attempts at decipherment compared its symbols to linear Egyptian hieroglyphs, Hittite cuneiform, and other ancient scripts, but found no convincing parallels. Some proposed the disk encoded a lost Minoan language with its 45 signs representing syllables, logograms, or ideograms. Yet the lack of repeated sequences and the brevity of the text frustrated linguistic analysis. Others suggested non-linguistic functions, a ritual incantation, a board game, a musical notation, or an astronomical calendar citing symbols resembling stars, boats, and birds. These theories, though imaginative, often lacked supporting evidence, relying on speculative interpretations of the disk's iconography. A persistent controversy surrounds the disk's authenticity. A minority of scholars argued it could be a 19th century forgery crafted by Pernier to bolster his reputation, though this claim has been largely debunked. Radiocarbon dating of associated materials and petrographic analysis of the clay confirm its origin in the 2nd millennium BC, consistent with Minoan production. The debate shifted to computational approaches in the late 20th century, with researchers using statistical models to analyze symbol frequencies and patterns. These studies found no clear match to known languages or scripts, suggesting the disk may not represent a conventional writing system. Some linguists propose it could be a protoscript, an early experiment in written communication, while others argue it is purely decorative, its symbols chosen for aesthetic or symbolic value rather than linguistic content. Modern scholarship remains divided. Archaeologists debate the disk's cultural context. Was it a uniquely Minoan creation, or an import from an unknown Eastern culture, perhaps Anatolia or the Levant? The absence of additional disks or similar inscriptions limits comparative analysis, as does the undeciphered status of Linear A, which might hold clues to the disk's language, if any. Controversial decipherment, claims linking the disk to early Greek Semitic or even Slavic languages, have emerged periodically but are widely dismissed as speculative, often driven by nationalistic agendas or overzealous interpretation. These disputes reflect the tension between rigorous evidence and the human desire to solve an ancient puzzle, pushing scholars to refine methodologies in epigraphy, computational linguistics, and material science. The Phaistos disk remains a battleground of ideas where each hypothesis tests the boundaries of our understanding of ancient communication. The Phaistos disk's enduring mystery has profoundly influenced the study of ancient writing systems and captured the cultural imagination. Its resistance to decipherment underscores the fragility of written records, particularly for cultures like the Minoans, whose language may be lost forever. The disk's challenge has driven significant advancements in archaeological science, from statistical modeling of script patterns to artificial intelligence-driven analysis of symbol sequences. These innovations have broadened our approach to undeciphered scripts, informing studies of Linear A, Rongorongo, and other enigmatic writing systems. The disk has also spurred renewed excavations across Crete, with sites like Knossos and Zakros yielding new linear A tablets, though no second disk has surfaced. These efforts highlight the Minoan sophistication as a literate society capable of creating diverse forms of written expression. The disk's possible role as a ritual diplomatic or commemorative object underscores the complexity of Minoan culture. Its stamped symbols suggest a technological leap, perhaps used to produce multiple copies, though no others survive. This innovation hints at a society experimenting with standardized communication, a precursor to later printing technologies. The disk's spiral design, both orderly and mysterious, resonates as a visual metaphor for the Minoans themselves, a civilization of structure and enigma. Housed in the Heraclean Archaeological Museum, the Phaistos disk draws thousands of visitors annually, its cryptic surface a canvas for speculation and wonder. Its presence in popular culture, from novels and films to video games and art, reflects its status as a symbol of humanity's quest for knowledge, a relic that embodies the allure of the unknown. The disk's legacy extends beyond Crete, inspiring interdisciplinary collaboration among linguists, archaeologists, computer scientists, and historians. By resisting easy answers, it forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge, acknowledging that some truths may remain beyond reach. The Phaistos disk's story, woven from clay silence and human curiosity, continues to inspire a testament to the enduring power of mystery in a world that seeks certainty. The Phaistos disk stands as a silent sentinel of the Minoan world, its 45 symbols, a language we cannot yet speak. Crafted in the fires of an ancient palace, it carries the weight of a civilization that bridged continents and cultures. Its discovery in 1908 opened a door to the past, only to reveal a deeper enigma that has captivated scholars and dreamers alike. Researchers have proposed scripts, rituals, calendars, and even forgeries, yet the disk guards its secrets with unyielding resolve. Its spiral of signs etched by hands, long gone, challenges us to rethink the origins of writing, the nature of communication, and the lives of those who shaped the Bronze Age. The Phaistos disk endures as a beacon of mystery, inviting future generations to unravel its code or embrace its silence as a profound gift from history. As it rests in a Cretan museum, its legacy whispers of a time when symbols held untold power, and the unknown was a source of endless wonder. In 13th century Asia, one of history's greatest empires launched an audacious campaign to conquer a distant island nation. Kublai Khan, fifth great Khan of the Mongol Empire, dispatched vast fleets to subdue Japan in 1274 and 1281. These armadas, carrying tens of thousands of warriors, vanished beneath the waves, shattered by tempests that the Japanese called kamikaze, the divine wind. The loss of Kublai Khan's fleets marked a turning point in the Mongol quest for dominance, leaving behind a legacy of mystery and myth. Tales of divine intervention, sunken treasures, and ghostly ships have woven themselves into Japanese folklore, persisting for centuries. The story of these lost fleets, preserved in ancient chronicles and underwater relics, reveals a clash of empires, the power of nature, and the enduring allure of legends born from catastrophe. This is the saga of Kublai Khan's maritime ambition, a tale of conquest undone by the seas. By the late 13th century, the Mongol Empire under Kublai Khan stood as the largest contiguous empire in human history, stretching from the Pacific to the Caspian Sea. Grandson of Genghis Khan, Kublai inherited a realm of unparalleled diversity, uniting nomadic horsemen, Chinese bureaucrats, and Persian merchants under his rule. From his capital at Khanbalik, now Beijing, he sought to extend Mongol dominion beyond the mainland, targeting the island nation of Japan, known to the Chinese as the Land of the Rising Sun. Japan under the Kamakura shogunate was a feudal society of samurai warriors, rice farmers, and Buddhist monks. Its rugged islands, shielded by treacherous seas, fostered a culture of resilience and independence. The Mongols, already masters of cavalry warfare, adapted their strategies for maritime conquest, incorporating Chinese and Korean shipbuilding to create fleets capable of crossing the Sea of Japan. Kublai Khan's ambition was driven by both strategic and economic motives. Japan offered access to trade routes, gold and prestige cementing his legacy as a universal ruler. The Mongols demanded tribute from the Kamakura shogunate in 1266, but the Japanese, led by Regent Hojo Tokimune, refused, viewing submission as dishonor. This defiance set the stage for invasion. The Mongol military machine, renowned for its disciplined archers, siege engines, and psychological warfare, faced a new challenge: the unpredictable seas, and a foe entrenched in mountainous terrain. Japanese samurai trained in single combat and archery relied on defensive fortifications and guerrilla tactics, contrasting sharply with Mongol massed assaults. The cultural divide between the nomadic empire and the insular island nation shaped a conflict where geography, strategy, and belief would collide with devastating consequences. In 1274, Kublai Khan launched his first invasion of Japan, assembling a fleet of 900 ships carrying 40,000 Mongol, Chinese, and Korean troops. Departing from Korean ports, the armada landed at Hakata Bay in northern Kyushu, a strategic gateway to the Japanese heartland. The Mongols, employing composite bows, catapults, and gunpowder bombs, initially overwhelmed the samurai defenders. Japanese chronicles describe fierce battles along the coast, with samurai swords clashing against Mongol armor under a sky darkened by arrows. The invaders seized early victories, but their advance stalled as samurai regrouped, using hit-and-run tactics from fortified positions. As the Mongols prepared to press inland, a sudden storm swept across Hakata Bay. High winds and towering waves battered the fleet, anchored offshore, scattering ships and drowning thousands. The surviving forces retreated to Korea, their campaign undone by nature in a single night. 7 years later, in 1281, Kublai Khan mounted a second, far larger invasion. This time, 2 fleets totaling 4,400 ships and 140,000 troops converged on Kyushu. The southern fleet sailed from China, the eastern from Korea, aiming to encircle the Japanese defenses. The Mongols, bolstered by advanced naval technology, including watertight compartments and paddle-wheel ships, landed at multiple points along Hakata Bay. Japanese forces, now better prepared, had constructed stone walls along the coast, forcing the Mongols into prolonged sieges. For weeks, the invaders struggled against relentless samurai resistance and logistical challenges, their supply lines stretched across turbulent seas. In August, a massive typhoon struck with even greater ferocity than the first. The divine wind tore through the anchored fleets, splintering ships against rocky shores and swallowing entire crews. The second invasion collapsed, with estimates of over 100,000 lives lost. The survivors fled, leaving behind a legacy of wreckage and wonder. The destruction of Kublai Khan's fleets birthed one of Japan's most enduring legends, the kamikaze, or divine wind. Japanese chronicles such as the Hachiman Gudokun attribute the storms to the intervention of Shinto deities, particularly the thunder god Raijin and the wind god Fujin, who unleashed their wrath to protect the sacred islands. Temples in Kyushu erected shrines to honor these gods, crediting them with delivering Japan from foreign conquest. Oral traditions spoke of ghostly apparitions guiding the storms and of Mongol ships cursed by vengeful spirits. Some tales claimed the fleets carried vast treasures, gold, jade, and sacred relics that sank to the ocean floor, guarded by sea dragons. These stories, amplified by Buddhist monks and samurai bards, wove the kamikaze into the fabric of Japanese identity, symbolizing divine protection and national resilience. Other legends hinted at human agency. Some accounts suggested Japanese priests performed rituals to summon the storms, while others whispered of sabotage with defectors setting Mongol ships ablaze to weaken the fleet. In Mongol records preserved in the Yuan history, the invasion's failure was blamed on poor planning and disunity among commanders, downplaying the storm's supernatural significance. Chinese and Korean captives who survived the wrecks told of omens, strange lights in the sky, and eerie calms before the tempests, fueling speculation of cosmic forces at play. These diverse narratives, from triumphant Japanese myths to pragmatic Mongol accounts, reflect the cultural lenses through which the catastrophe was interpreted. The kamikaze legend transcended history, becoming a cornerstone of Japanese folklore, inspiring later generations, including the World War II pilots who adopted the name for their sacrificial missions. The mystery of Kublai Khan's lost fleets has left an indelible mark on history and archaeology. The failed invasions halted Mongol expansion into Japan, preserving the Kamakura shogunate's autonomy and shaping Japan's trajectory as an independent power. The kamikaze legend reinforced Shinto beliefs in divine guardianship, influencing Japanese nationalism for centuries. The storms also exposed the limits of Mongol naval power, forcing Kublai Khan to abandon further maritime campaigns and focus on consolidating his empire in China. The invasions strained Mongol resources, contributing to the Yuan dynasty's eventual decline in the 14th century. For Japan, the victories at Hakata Bay bolstered samurai prestige and solidified the shogunate's authority, laying the groundwork for a martial culture that would define the nation. Modern archaeology has sought to uncover the physical remnants of the lost fleets. Since the 1980s, underwater excavations in Hakata Bay and the Imari Gulf have recovered anchors, swords, and ceramic bombs, confirming the scale of the invasions. Ship timbers reveal Chinese and Korean construction techniques, while skeletal remains offer clues about the diverse crews, Mongol warriors, Chinese sailors, and Korean conscripts. These finds, corroborated by Japanese scrolls and Mongol records, paint a vivid picture of the Armada's ambition and demise. Advanced sonar mapping has identified wrecks scattered across the seabed, though the fabled treasures of gold and jade remain elusive, likely exaggerated by legend. The discoveries have enriched our understanding of 13th-century naval warfare, cross-cultural interactions, and the environmental forces that shaped history. The kamikaze legend, once a tale of divine intervention, now intersects with science, revealing a story of human hubris and nature's unyielding power. The lost fleets of Kublai Khan remain one of history's great maritime mysteries, a saga of ambition undone by the seas. In 1274 and 1281, the Mongol Empire, greatest power of its age, sought to conquer Japan, only to be thwarted by storms that the Japanese called kamikaze. These divine winds, enshrined in legend as the will of the gods, scattered the invaders, leaving behind tales of sunken treasures and spectral guardians. The fleet's destruction preserved Japan's sovereignty, altered the course of Mongol expansion, and gave rise to a myth that endures in the nation's soul. Archaeological finds beneath Hakata Bays, waters from shattered hulls to rusted blades, bear witness to the cataclysm, piecing together a story of strategy, sacrifice, and survival. The kamikaze legend, born from the wreckage of empire, continues to captivate, blending history with the supernatural in a narrative that resonates across centuries. As the seas guard their secrets, the story of Kublai Khan's lost fleets stands as a testament to the fragility of power and the enduring voice of myth in the face of nature's fury. In the heart of the Smithsonian Institution lies a gem that has captivated the world for centuries. The Hope Diamond, a 45.52-carat blue diamond, radiates an ethereal glow, its facets reflecting light like a frozen flame. Originating from the ancient mines of India, this jewel has journeyed through royal courts, revolutions, and tragedies, leaving a trail of fascination and fear. Tales of a curse haunting its owners with misfortune and death have elevated the Hope Diamond to a legend, a symbol of beauty entwined with doom. From Indian temples to European palaces, its story weaves together greed, ambition, and the human obsession with rare treasures. The Hope Diamond's allure persists not only for its unparalleled splendor, but for the mysteries that shroud its past, a saga of opulence and enigma that continues to enchant. The Hope Diamond was born in the 17th century in the Golconda mines of southern India, a region renowned for producing the world's finest diamonds. In this era, India was the epicenter of the global gem trade, its mines yielding stones that adorned the crowns of Mughal emperors and fueled European fascination with the exotic East. Golconda, located in the Deccan Plateau, was a labyrinth of underground shafts where miners toiled under brutal conditions to extract gems embedded in volcanic rock. The diamonds of Golconda, prized for their clarity and size, were transported along trade routes to Persian bazaars and European ports, driven by the insatiable demand of monarchs and merchants. The Mughal Empire, under rulers like Aurangzeb, controlled these mines, amassing vast wealth, while European powers, particularly the French and British, vied for access through colonial ambitions. The cultural landscape of 17th century India shaped the early life of the Hope Diamond. Diamonds held spiritual significance in Hindu and Jain traditions, often set in temple idols or worn as talismans for divine protection. The Golconda mines were steeped in lore, with stories of sacred gems guarded by deities or cursed by priests to punish thieves. European travelers, like French jeweler Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, who visited Golconda in the 1640s, described the region's opulence, but also its dangers, including banditry and political intrigue. The diamond trade was a high-stakes enterprise where fortunes were made and lost, and the seeds of the Hope Diamond's curse may have been sown in this volatile world. As European demand grew, diamonds like the Hope began their journey westward, entering a new chapter of royal splendor and eventual tragedy. The Hope Diamond's recorded history begins in 1668, when Jean-Baptiste Tavernier sold a 112-carat blue diamond to King Louis XIV of France. Known as the Tavernier Blue, this gem was likely mined in Golconda, its vivid hue the result of trace boron in its crystal structure. Louis had the diamond cut into a 67-carat heart-shaped stone, renaming it the French Blue, or the Blue Diamond of the Crown. Set in gold and worn as a pendant, it became a centerpiece of the French royal jewels, symbolizing the Sun King's absolute power. The French Blue adorned Louis Court at Versailles, dazzling foreign dignitaries and cementing France's reputation as a cultural superpower. After Louis' death in 1715, the gem passed to his successors, including Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, whose lavish lifestyles fueled public discontent. In 1792, during the French Revolution, the royal jewels were stolen from the Garde Meuble in Paris. The French Blue vanished, its fate unknown for decades. By 1830, it reappeared in London, drastically recut to its current 45.52-carat size, possibly to disguise its origins. Purchased by banker Henry Philip Hope, the gem acquired its modern name, the Hope Diamond. Hope displayed it in his private collection, but after his death in 1839, the diamond changed hands, repeatedly passing through European aristocrats and American heiresses. Notable owners included Evelyn Walsh McLean, a Washington socialite who wore it as a talisman, and Pierre Cartier, who sold it to her in 1911, weaving tales of its cursed history to enhance its allure. Each transfer added to the diamond's mystique as stories of misfortune began to cling to its legacy. The Hope Diamond's fame stems not only from its beauty, but from the persistent legend of a curse that brings ruin to its owners. Tales of tragedy emerged in the 19th century, amplified by jewelers and newspapers eager to sensationalize the gem's history. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, often linked to the curse, were guillotined in 1793, though no evidence confirms they wore the French blue. Henry Philip Hope's family faced financial decline after his death, fueling speculation that the diamond brought ill fortune. Evelyn Walsh McLean, who purchased it in 1911, endured personal losses, including the death of her son in a car accident, and her husband's institutionalization, though she dismissed the curse as superstition. Later owners like Harry Winston, who donated the diamond to the Smithsonian in 1958, avoided misfortune, casting doubt on the legend's consistency. The curse narrative draws heavily from earlier Indian lore. Tavernier claimed the diamond was stolen from a temple statue of the goddess Sita, whose priests cursed it to punish thieves. This story, likely apocryphal, reflects European stereotypes of mystical India, but resonated with Victorian audiences. Other tales attributed bankruptcies, suicides, and shipwrecks to the diamonds, influenced though many were exaggerated or unrelated. Historical analysis reveals that the curse's origins lie in marketing. Pierre Cartier reportedly embellished the gem's dark history to entice McLean, creating a narrative that blended fact and fiction. Scientific scrutiny debunks supernatural claims, noting that the diamond's boron content causes its red phosphorescence, a natural phenomenon mistaken for an ominous glow. Yet the curse persists in popular imagination, a testament to the human tendency to weave myth around objects of extraordinary beauty and value. The Hope Diamond's journey has left an indelible mark on history, science, and culture. Its passage through royal courts and private collections mirrors the rise and fall of empires, from the absolutism of Versailles to the chaos of the French Revolution. The diamond's recutting in the early 19th century, likely to obscure its stolen origins, highlights the shadowy world of the gem trade, where provenance was often erased to protect profits. Its acquisition by American elites like Evelyn Walsh McLean reflects the Gilded Age's obsession with status and European relics as the United States emerged as a global power. The diamond's donation to the Smithsonian by Harry Winston marked a shift from private treasure to public heritage, making it accessible to millions and cementing its status as a cultural icon. Scientifically, the Hope Diamond has advanced the study of mineralogy. Its blue color caused by boron impurities has informed research into diamond formation deep within the Earth's mantle. Spectroscopic analysis of its phosphorescence conducted at the Smithsonian has revealed insights into crystal defects, aiding the development of gem authentication techniques. The diamond's geological origins in Golconda connect it to the study of ancient volcanic activity, offering clues about the Deccan Plateau's mineral wealth. Culturally, the Hope Diamond inspires art, literature, and film its curse narrative, influencing works from mystery novels to Hollywood thrillers. Exhibited in the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History, it draws crowds eager to glimpse its beauty and ponder its storied past. The diamond's legacy lies in its ability to bridge science and myth, history and imagination, uniting diverse audiences in a shared fascination with the unknown. The Hope Diamond endures as a jewel of unparalleled beauty and mystery, its 45.52 carats a window into centuries of human ambition and awe. Born in the mines of Golconda, it traveled from Indian temples to European palaces, surviving theft revolution and recutting to become a global icon. The legend of its curse, woven from tales of divine retribution and personal tragedy, has elevated it beyond a mere gem, transforming it into a symbol of fate and fortune. Historical scrutiny reveals the curse's roots in marketing and myth, yet its grip on the imagination persists, a reminder of our desire to find meaning in the extraordinary. Scientific study has unlocked the diamond's geological secrets, while its cultural resonance continues to inspire. As it rests in the Smithsonian, its deep blue facets glowing under soft light, the Hope Diamond remains a beacon of enigma. inviting us to explore the interplay of beauty power and the stories we tell about the treasures we hold dear.